can we leverage on petroleum refining to jumpstart the Nigerian economy?
Petroleum drives the economies of nations. Goods and services are moved with petroleum products. Until we find alternatives to fossil fuels for the foreseeable future, we will still depend on products from the refineries.
So it's in our interest to get
it right.
Before I leave the refineries, the Petroleum Refineries Act would include new local content requirements, such as having at least 75% Nigerian refinery staff. Is the industry ready for this?
Oh, yes. In actual fact, right now, in all of the refineries, it's almost 100% Nigerian staffed. No, really.
So we have nothing to worry in that regard?
We have nothing to worry in that regard. I'm more concerned, not just with staffing, but with the services which are provided in the refineries. And going beyond that, manufacturing of equipment, inputs into the refining industry and into the rest of the industry. Okay. We have heat exchangers, we have tanks, all of these things can be constructed. Over the years, Nigerian companies have been developing capacity to construct tanks. And we see a lot of storage tanks all around the country now being built by Nigerian companies. And that's a great development. We should see more of that happening in the refineries and then manufacturing of more equipment. This is the real impact of the Nigerian Content Act.
What further reforms are needed, in your opinion, to transform the nation's petroleum sector and to achieve greater transparency and accountability in that industry?
NNPC pays world market prices for crude oil that it buys. If we adopt a model that allows the refineries to buy their crude and sell their products, then we will still get the same money we get from selling the crude oil because they pay for it at world market prices. And then we will then produce all the products that we need for our consumption. And we won't have to waste the foreign exchange getting these products in. That will be more efficient, and we will see a step change. There's a multiplier effect in terms of services that are provided to the economy. Every job in the refinery could lead to 8 to 16 other jobs outside the refinery that are associated with the refinery. Indeed, the whole of the downstream. So you will find that industrial development will accelerate, because right now we are actually exporting jobs to those countries from where we are importing the products, rather than providing jobs for our own people and enjoying the multiplier effect of those jobs.
There have been concerns about the quality of petroleum products being imported into the country. How concerned should we be?
We should be very concerned. You probably read the article on dirty diesel, which was written by Public Eye of Holland, alleging that a lot of the diesel, in particular, that was being imported into the country had in excess of 3,000 parts per million of sulfur in it. That is dangerous to human health. The World Health Organization has determined that high sulfur in fuels results in respiratory illnesses and also contributes to heart attacks and strokes and various other illnesses. So we should be concerned. And when I became the president of the African Finance Association in 2013, that was one of the things that I took as a prime initiative that we were going to push, that we should improve the quality of the petroleum products that were being sold in Africa as a whole. We co-sponsored a study together with the World Bank, which indicated that countries around Africa were spending about $1.6 trillion treating illnesses attributable to poor quality fuel over a 10-year period. So if we take action to improve the quality of our fuels, we will see the results in improved health of our people. In recent times, United Nations has arrived at the conclusion that about 3 million deaths occur every year in the world as a result of poor quality fuel. And that has been the driver for Europe bringing in new legislation to limit the level of sulfur in the fuels that are used. Now, it's not just sulfur. There's benzene, aromatics, Some years ago, it was tetraethyl lead, which has been phased out now, thank God. We were very effective in phasing that out in Nigeria as well. So we do need to take action to improve the quality of our petroleum products. That would lead to better health for our people.
As Executive Project Manager of Nigeria LNG, you were responsible for managing the construction of LNG trains 4, 5, and 6. And you managed the train 7 pre-FID works. Obviously, we're losing a lot of revenue now that the 7th train is still not on stream. What's delaying this project? And what can we do to speed things up, given that this is said to be able to provide about 18,000 jobs and multiplier jobs as well?
You're right. We would have earned a lot of revenue if we completed Train 7 at the time that it was projected. However, the government of the country took a decision at that time, which I thought was right, that we needed to get power supply right. So the government decided that rather than export the natural gas to other countries, and they will use it to generate power and produce petrochemicals and refined products and sell to us, let us develop our power generation and distribution to the extent that we would then support our own industrial growth. That was a correct decision at the time. However, I think that a lot of progress has been made. Right now, we are generating somewhere about 5,000 megawatts, though the actual distribution infrastructure has not been developed to be able to distribute that efficiently. And so we are not seeing the impact as much as we should. But the government has targeted moving that up to 20,000 megawatts. If we achieve that, we'll see that our industrial growth will be much more. But there are enough gas reserves in this nation. We have 120 trillion standard cubic feet of gas, proven reserves of gas. So if the PIB is passed, I go back to the PIB again. If the PIB is passed, it will give an incentive to the upstream companies to prospect more, to produce more of that gas which is in the ground. We will have enough gas to support our power generation as well as to support export of more liquefied natural gas. The simple reason why you liquefy gas is so as to be able to export it over long distances. Yes. But the gas market has changed in the world in recent times. Prices have plummeted. I suspect we are not going to get as much money now as we would have if we had done it 8 years ago.
As far back as 2009, 8 years ago, a House of Assembly ad hoc committee on the activities of the NNPC recommended that the president should no longer double as petroleum minister. In fact, they described the practice as unconstitutional. 8 years down the line, the current president also doubles as petroleum minister. What are your views on this?
Though there are a lot of efforts that are being made and have been made in recent times, even in the previous governments, we still are pretty much a monoproduct economy. I think that is why the president chose to still retain that portfolio. However, he has a minister of state who does most of the work, and I expect that the minister of state briefs him and where necessary gets his approval. The president has considered it necessary to still have an oversight on petroleum matters. I believe that